Hi everybody, welcome to our mudroom. My name is Angela Nickerson. Hi, I am Mid-Modern Mama at midmodernmama.com, and today I am taking you on a short tour of our newly redone mudroom with lots and lots of storage and organization, and yet I think it still looks pretty good too. I did all of this as part of the One Room Challenge, which is an exciting thing on Instagram. It's hashtag One Room Challenge. And there were several hundred of us over the course of the last 8 weeks who have committed to and redoing one room in our house. And this was started about a decade ago. By an interior designer who wanted to just get one room done in her house. And so she and a couple of friends committed to doing that and to documenting on Instagram. And now it is a twice yearly thing that happens. It's super fun. It's a great community of people who get together, and we all just work to redo one room in our house. So this year I took on our mudroom. It is a workhorse in our house. It is the room that does so much for us. We do not have a garage, nor do we have a basement or any of that kind of thing. And so this is where it all happens, down that hallway too. And I'll show you the whole thing. This whole room is an L-shaped room. And I'm going to step back a little bit so that you can get a better look. Over here, we have all of our seasonal storage. So this is where we keep all of our shoes, jackets, coats. We're in Colorado, so we have lots of cold weather gear. It all gets stored in here. This has become a really nice seating area. And you can see I've got a dresser here. It's a vintage piece that we redid, and that is a little bit of organizational storage too. And then back here is what we call the room of requirement. This is where everything gets stored, because like I said, we don't have an attic, we don't have a basement, we don't have any of that kind of thing. This is seasonal storage for Christmas and other holidays up at the top. This is where overflow of cleaning supplies end up being. We have a small fridge here for extra drinks and that kind of thing. We even down at the end, and I'll show you that in a minute, we have our treadmill and a television. And it's all lined out with these really carefully designed shelves and shelving for good storage and really good really good place to keep all the stuff that doesn't fit in the rest of the house. As part of the One Room Challenge, this room was a disaster. And if you go to my blog, midmodernmama.com, there are a lot of good before and after pictures. This room had no windows, and it had this door, which is brand new. It was a vintage door that I found at an architectural salvage place, which I sanded for days and then repainted. It is brand new, but that brings in the only natural light into this room. This room was dark. It was really unattractive and a hard place to be. It was kind of the ditch your coat and get out of here kind of place. So we started with adding light. And that was a big key point in the design of this room. We added, like I said, changed out this door. The door has windows. I love it. It's so exciting. We also put in a new Sputnik style fixture here. The original fixture only had one light bulb. And with no light in the room, it was really dim and dark in here. So now we have this, as well as a lamp. The lamp, I should show you this. The lamp is on a timer, and I'll put a link in the scroll below. This timer is so great. So it turns the lamp on in the evenings as it starts to get dark, and in the winter I can change that time so that the timer goes on earlier and earlier in the day. And that way the room is nice and bright when we come home, which is really helpful. We also put in these vintage style fixtures over here. And again, we only had 2 fixtures in here before. They were in the same location. We didn't move anything, didn't change anything. But they each only had 1 light bulb. And so by choosing fixtures that have 2 bulbs in them, we doubled the light in this room, which was really helpful and really fantastic. So that was the first of our design emphases, bringing in light. And then really, really important. The second thing that I really worked hard to do was to make this room functional and to bring in storage. My husband designed this cubby system over here. The cubbies are made out of bookcases. There are 3, you'll see across, 1, 2, and 3. And then they're connected with extra shelves. And so we end up with 5 cavities. And of course, if you have a bigger family than we do, you could extend this along a much longer wall. Or if you didn't need as many, you could use just 2 bookcases. Then this is a piece of countertop down here. And then down below is another bookcase turned on its side. And that's where we keep all of our shoes. So I will have plans for this up on my website that you can download for free. And it'll show you how exactly to put this together. But this is the basic start for all of the organization in this room. And this is not staged. You can see we've got winter coats here. We have these bins right here are full of gloves, scarves, hats are up here. We have 1 for each of us so that we have those bins. They work like drawers, which is really handy. And then up above, these are just wire bins, and I have purses here and bags, all those things that we don't use every day, but are really handy to have right by the door when you're leaving. Down here, reusable grocery bags, super easy to grab on your way out. And then we've just got some simple hooks, really easy. These are a brushed nickel finish, but there are hooks here for jackets, for bags, for coats here also. And I haven't redone, we weren't sure exactly how the shelves were going to work, if they were ready. We'll probably live with it a little while before I go through and cover these, but I actually have a tutorial on my website for how to disguise those little holes. Once you're sure that you've got your shelves exactly where you want them to be, it's a super easy thing to hide the holes on the inside, those pre-drilled holes on a bookcase, and it makes it just disappear. And they're really, really simple. So you use a drywall compound and just fill in those holes, or you can even cover it with electrical tape that matches, and it just absolutely disappears, which is really fantastic. We hung a cute little clock over the door just so that we always know what time it is as we're leaving. And this is actually a vintage mirror that, a vintage window that about 25 years ago I turned into a mirror. I just had a piece of mirror cut and inserted where the glass used to be, and that has hung by our door for forever with our car keys and everything in it, but super, super easy. Okay, so that is the storage here. Everything is sorted by what it is. So there's a bin for hats, a bin for scarves, a bin for mittens and gloves. So you always know where to find them, in theory, of course. And there are some great little hooks over here. In the carousel below, I included some hooks that are really similar to this. These are so great, and this is for longer storage. So one of the things I had to think about was our winter gear, we have a few things that, like snow pants, for example, that are too long for these cubbies. So what do? Well, we could create a larger cubby, and that's one of the great things about creating this out of a bookcase, that you can change this. So like I could remove this shelf right here, and that could be a taller cubby if we wanted to. But I decided the easier way to do this, and the simpler thing to do, was just to hang some higher hooks over here. So this is where we'll hang snow pants, which we are right now in between sizes, so they're not hanging there, and dog leashes, also a good thing to have, super handy. And it's funny, our dogs have already learned that this is where the leashes go, and they come and stand there and look at them, praying that we're going to take them somewhere. And that's the way it goes. Down below, I put this great little belly basket, and I also included in the carousel a link to something that's really similar. I've had this one for a couple of years. This is our donations basket. It is right by the door. And when we come across something in our house that is no longer needed and it's ready to be donated, it goes in that basket. When the basket's full, put it in the car and take it straight over to a place to be donated. Super easy system, and it has served us very, very well. It's been really, really great. Are there any comments? I have one of my family members is monitoring our comments. So if there's anybody who has a question as I'm going through, or needs a suggestion or anything like that, please feel free to ask in the comments. It's totally great. And while you're at it, be sure you hit like and subscribe too. Let's talk about this part of the room. So our family has taken to calling this the room of requirement. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you get that reference right away. And in many ways, it kind of is the room of requirement. It is the room where everything is hidden away, but it is where all that really important stuff is. I set a couple of rules for myself as I was putting together the room of requirement. I really wanted, number one, everything needed to be relatively visible. So you'll notice there are no cardboard boxes. Everything is in a bin that is see-through, at least to a degree, so I can see what is inside. Also, everything has a lid on it. Because these are open shelves, and I love open shelves, but over time, everything is going to get a little bit dusty. So all of these bins are, and there are variety, I've collected them over the years, and I've linked to several, now that you can buy them in bulk. That's really, really nice. So I've linked to several in the carousel in different sizes. But those bins are super sturdy. They've got nice lids on them. And you can see all across the top, there are labels on each bin, actually. And the labels tell what's inside. So right here, for example, I have supplies for my Roomba, and extra supplies, so filters and some extra of the spinny guys and all that kind of stuff is in the Roomba bin. There's dog grooming stuff in the dog bin and the rest of their dog food. I have decorations for Valentine's Day and light bulbs. The second rule that I kind of set out for myself, not only did everything have to be visible and easy to find and tucked away, but it also, I did not want anything to stack. And there are a few places where I've stacked smaller bins, but for the most part, things do not stack here. So I use shelves that are closer together here to accommodate things like trays are right down there, and platters, which we don't really have room for in our kitchen. And so we now have a dedicated space where those things can live in this room, which is so helpful. So here we've got platters and big bowls and plates, all kinds of things that we use with some frequency, but not every day. I also have some of the small appliances live in here, even garden seeds. I have a bin for that. And here's one of my other favorite things that I found. These are refrigerator containers. They're meant to go in your fridge and hold produce and that kind of thing. And I have them there too, but they work perfectly in here. And again, they're see-through, so I can see what is it inside this bin. Don't even have to pull it out, and it kind of functions as a drawer, which is really handy. Let's see. Freddie says it looks like a ship's corridor. You are exactly right, Freddie. It is kind of a little galley. But everything has a place. And fortunately, unlike a ship, I don't have to tie it all down, which is really nice. These drawers are also helpful. And they're filled with like the mixer kinds of pieces, things that we have terrible drawers in our kitchen, so these are helpful for overflow. And again, everything is organized by what type it is. One of my goals in putting together this room too was that we would be able to put a treadmill in here, and the only way that worked was to be able to get a smaller treadmill, which we did, which is fantastic. And it had to be able to fold up. And this one does. And I love that about this treadmill. It's so fantastic because it does fold just like this. And I'm going to have to do this one-handed and show you how it unfolds. So bear with me. Let me see if I can do this. So all you do is kick right here, and it folds down. And there we have a treadmill, even with a TV that attaches. This treadmill is by Nordic Track, and I linked to both the treadmill and the TV in the carousel, which is really fun. I love this treadmill. It's fantastic. Our whole family uses it, and we really, really are enjoying having it here, even if it is in the room of requirement and basically in a closet. But that's the kind of space I was able to find in this room. And if you go to my website, you can see before pictures. There was no place for a treadmill before this. But I will tell you a couple of things that helped. Number one, getting these shelves and making them nice and tight and truly customized so that I was maximizing the shelving space. But the second thing was that we emptied this room completely. The living room was an absolute disaster for a week while I did it. But I emptied the room completely and put all of these items out, grouped them by type, and basically used Marie Kondo's KonMari method, not for my whole house, but for this entire room, and evaluated every single thing. I took 5 loads of stuff to be donated, 5 carloads. It was fantastic, and I was able to get rid of a lot of things. And one of my rules was not only if it didn't spark joy, out it went, but the other thing was if we hadn't used it in over a year, it also left. And that was really, really, really helpful. So what's here is kind of the essentials of our house. The other thing I really wanted to make space for in here and was able to do so were our dog kennels. So that was another goal, and I was highly motivated to get rid of some things because I wanted to be able to get the kennels, the treadmill, and this cute little fridge into this room. And to be able to do that, I had to make sure that we got rid of anything that was non-essential. I took all of our cleaning supplies over here and all our cleaning tools, and they are hanging on the wall, which gets them up and out of the way, but also super easy to find and easy to utilize. So that's really handy. So you'll see I've organized this by zones. We've got the cleaning zone over here. Seasonal storage is up at the top and out of the way because obviously we only get to that once a year. We've got a few kind of dribs and drabs and odds and ends down there at the far end. Some extra bags that I like to use. That's my favorite beach bag, that turquoise one right there. I've also got some surplus toilet paper. I don't know if you do this. I am a really big fan of subscribe and save. And so when I get toilet paper, I don't get one package. I have to have some space to store it. But we have not run out of toilet paper in many, many years. I first learned about subscribe and save when our baby was a baby and in diapers, and it was the best thing. I never in his entire diapering career ran out of diapers or wipes. It was a miracle, and that is all because of subscribe and save. So I have extra storage down there for things like toilet paper and paper towels. And up here too, I have what looks like a lot of cleaning supplies, but that's simply because I do subscribe and save. And so, for example, hand wash, I think I get a package of 6 of these every 6 months, which seems to be about perfect for our family. And so these refills just sit here until they're needed in the bathrooms and the kitchen and everywhere else. And that's true for all these cleaning supplies. So I tend to get them in bigger quantities, but only every 6 months or even every year, depending on what it is. And I just never run out, which is fantastic. I hate to have a mess that I can't clean up. So are there any questions about this crazy room of requirement and how I have, what we have done to make it better? Oh, I have to tell you about this. So this room is not all that attractive, or was not all that attractive. And my husband and I were sitting and thinking about it. And the third design goal for the mudroom makeover was to bring a little mid-century style here. And part of that is with the light fixtures. I love these little bow tie light fixtures. But part of it, Romano, my husband, came up with this paneling system. And this is just beautiful birch plywood, most of which we already had that was left over from another project, that he has cut down into paneling strips. And then he added this beautiful walnut detail in between the strips. Makes it super easy. They butt up against each other with a butt joint. There was nothing fancy about this, but it gives it a little bit of a mid-century flair and makes the room just all that much more attractive. And we could have done wallpaper. There are lots of things you could have done in here. But again, it's a storage room, and I love the paneling in here. We also have paneling, vintage paneling in our living room, which is contiguous to this space. So it kind of ties those two rooms together too, which is really nice. So back into the mudroom part of this room. So you'll see I linked here, we don't have a doorway, and we talked about putting a door into this opening, but that would take up more space, and this room is small enough as it is. So I just bought 2 drapery panels, and when I don't want anyone to look in there, all I have to do is pull the panels. They're actually hung on a shower curtain rod up in the top. It's hidden away. Nobody's ever going to see it, but those drapery panels just give it a little bit of a division between the 2 rooms, which is really nice. I've linked to them below too. And it just makes it a little bit softer. I can pull it closed if I need to, but honestly, it's so tidy in there, I just leave it open. And that's really handy. Coming around here, you can see, oh, my cord for my computer. This is a vintage piece, but I have to tell you about these knobs. So these are from M-Tech. M-Tech was one of the sponsors for this room, and they sent me those gorgeous, gorgeous knobs. I absolutely love them. They have a little bit of a mid-century feel to them. They are so beautiful. They're glass and chrome, and I just love them. They also sent this door hardware, and I've linked to several. Ooh, with that light, I'm not sure you can see it. I have linked to several different M-Tech hardware pieces in the carousel. This is, I just absolutely love the way it looks. It's chrome, it's super functional, and it's keyless entry. And they have a whole keyless entry system that is available, and they sent those to us. It's fantastic. I'm super excited about this. So thank you, M-Tech, and their stuff is available. I've linked to it below. It's super heavy. It's really high quality. It is a really nice door handle, and it's a really lovely thing. Another piece that I wanted to show you, and I haven't shown you this corner yet. So this is a vintage chair that I actually bought for the One Room Challenge a couple of years ago. It didn't end up working in that room. It's kind of floated around our house, and now it has finally found a spot. But here's another fun decorating project that I did for this room. This is just a maple stump. We had a maple tree in our backyard. Super beautiful tree, but we had to take it down this spring. And I asked that we keep some of the limbs, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I figured we'd find a way to reuse them. So for this corner, I needed a little table. And what I did was I got a draw knife, again, linked in the carousel. And I sat for an afternoon in our backyard with the draw knife and peeled this chunk of log. And now I have this really, really beautiful table. And I don't even feel like the camera is doing it justice. It has this texture to it because of the draw knife marks on it. It's just really lovely. I'm super proud of this piece, and I did it all by myself. But it was an easy project. I thought it was going to be really hard. It's not. It was definitely a workout, but it was a fun project to do, and it makes a very, very cool table. This is just a big old wine jar. I think they're super cool, though, and there is another one of those. There's a similar piece linked in the comments as well. So linked in the carousel as well. Super simple, and then just a little branch off a tree. But again, a really easy thing, and it makes a big kind of impact as we come in, and is not in the way. One of my other favorite things in this room is this boot tray. If you live in a place where you get any kind of weather, rain, snow, anything like that, you should have a boot tray. The boot tray is fantastic. So this is metal, and again, I linked to that too. It's a metal tray. Any wet shoes go straight in the tray, and then they're able to dry, which doesn't take long here in Colorado, which is awfully handy. But that is a really great accessory in a mudroom as well. Are there questions? Can I answer for you? Anything that I can tell you about? This piece of art, I should tell you about this. So this is a fantastic, super inexpensive thing that you can add to any room. So this actually came from Japan. It is in Japanese businesses, especially. It's called I'm going to get that word wrong. I don't want to guess. It starts with an N, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. But it goes in a doorway, and it's split down the middle. But I absolutely love it hanging on a wall. And in this case, ours has rabbits and the moon and waves. The Japanese story is that instead of a man and the moon, which in the U.S. we often hear about the man and the moon, in Japan it's a rabbit. And a friend of mine actually gave this to me a long time ago. I had seen them on my travels in Japan and had never bought one, which I regretted, and she brought this back for me. But there are actually several of them available on Amazon, and I linked to a couple of them in the carousel. They're relatively inexpensive for a nice big piece of artwork for your room. So super easy. Up at the top there, you'll see we just took a piece of maple that was left over from the paneling project in the next room and created, there's a strip across the top to hang it and two little pieces that pop it out from the wall just slightly. Really, really simple. If you have a drill, you can do this. And I don't know if you know this, if you don't happen to have saws, table saws, that kind of thing at your home, you can often, when you buy wood, your local hardware store will often cut things to length for you. Sometimes they charge and sometimes they don't. But that's a really easy thing to do. You could measure this off, take it in, ask them to cut it for you, and you'd have a really easy, inexpensive thing to hang in your room. I am so grateful that you all joined. The link to see all of the before and after pictures is in my profile, midmodernmama.com. It's right on the front page, the mid-modern mudroom makeover. And we can put that link in the comments as well before I sign off. So you can go and take a look at it and see all these fantastic storage solutions at work for our family. And I really appreciate the fact that you all joined and listened. Please let me know if you have questions. And I thank you so much. Bye.